He likes to bite. Don't bite me. Don't bite me. Don't bite me, please. I know. He's my boy. Don't bite me. You're such a bitey boy. I don't want to be bitten. This is Jack. He's a crazy baby. He's a crazy baby. He's a crazy baby. Mwah. Mwah. He's a crazy baby. Mwah. You're silly. Go on. Well, that's one way to start off. I'm going to talk today about pros and cons of Belize. I've had a lot of people asking me lately all of the things about it, so here we are. Jack. Okay, so pros and cons of Belize. Let's start out with all of the good things. The good thing is that here you are very much free. So there's not a lot of rules, to be honest, and if there are, they're not really enforced that great. So for instance, you can grow your own food, you can build a house if you really want to without a permit, the list goes on. Another pro about here would be it's very raw. Now some people might not like that. For me, it is a complete plus because it's straightforward. I know that I can survive in this type of country and environment. I have survival skills. I can grow my own food. I can find my own water. I can filter my own water. I can build my own house. Some of you may not like that. Some of you might want to be able to go to a Walmart 24/7. That is not for me. The roads might not be great here everywhere. However, the main highways are pretty good. There's also a fabulous bus system. They're not fancy buses, although some of them are, but there is a great bus system that takes you to pretty much every hub in the country, which is fabulous. And they pretty much run every hour on the hour. It's pretty good. I use it all the time for me to go to Belize City, which takes you through Belmopon and up, which is like 4 hours on the bus. It's only $20 Belize. So if you come here and you don't want to buy a car, you don't have to. We have a Land Cruiser, 1995, which is really expensive on gas because gas is very expensive here. That would be a con. So we just bought a motorcycle to get around, just around here, like if I need to run to the store to get something. The truck is used for longer trips, and then if we have a really long trip, we take the bus. All right, let's get into the government. Government is pretty corrupt here. It's not the greatest. However, I will say the one plus about it is they don't hide it at all. It's very straightforward. You can pay anyone off if you want anything done. But the nice thing about it is it's in your face. They don't hide it at all. So you know what you're getting into. All right, school. There are schools everywhere. I personally like that the schools here are all pretty much religious schools. The reason why I like it is it has more structure. Now, I grew up in a very Christian community, almost culty Christian. I am no longer a churchgoer. However, I still have some of my own beliefs and spirituality. So I did like that the schools were structured. And believe it or not, if your child is bad, they still get a spanking, or a lashing as they call it here. It's not rough, at least where my daughter went, it was not bad. It was a tap on the hand. But I kind of liked it because it taught the kids respect, where in our schools in Canada, there's no respect. They don't have to listen to the teachers. They don't even have to listen to their own parents if they don't want to. Now back onto schools. We took our daughter out again because I found that they were doing too much education in the political side of the country. There wasn't a lot of sciences, which I am a strong believer in. So we have taken my daughter out again, and we are back homeschooling. Now there is a Christian school close to our community That is a American-ran school that we are going to try and get our daughter into next year. However, she has to do a test to get in, and it's not the easiest to get into the school. So I'll let you know how that goes next school year. One thing that's been really hard to get over is the abuse within families. I mean, if you mind your own business, it's fine. For me, I love children, so it's kind of hard to see how rough the children are treated here. But I've had to learn that it's not any of my business, and I have to stay out of it for my own mental health. There also seems to be a bit of alcoholism here, but I mean, that's everywhere. The small community I lived in Northern Ontario, it was bad there too, and there were a lot more drugs there. Another really good thing I like about the country, although we are not partaking in it, is the retirement program. I find it super interesting. We were not quite eligible for it because we pretty much have been self-employed, so we don't have a pension that is coming in that meets the requirements every year. But if this is something that is of interest to you, I strongly recommend you go on the Belize tourism website and take a look at all of the details. Taxes. All right, so pros and cons. This is so lopsided. Our property taxes for our 20 plus acres is $100 a year. Super reasonable. And that's in Belize funds. So that'd be like $75, $60 Canadian, depending on the currency exchange rate. Now, if you are importing things, this is on a whole other level. Import taxes are through the roof. If you want to import a vehicle, especially an SUV, have fun. It is crazy high. Seeing how we're talking about imports. Eating here, the food. People have asked me if it is cheap. Okay, for me, it is fairly cheap, and these are the reasons why. I cook everything from scratch. I don't shop in aisles, and even home in Canada, I really didn't shop in aisles. It was like a rule for me, unless I was going to buy pickles because I didn't have any at home, or ketchup, or whatever it may be. If you are buying produce or meat that is from Belize, which is so good and so tasty, it is fairly cheap. If you are buying things like Lay's potato chips that are imported, have fun paying $14 for a bag of chips. Another expensive thing here is the gas, which I mentioned before. Gas is through the roof, but it is also through the roof in Canada as well. Although here, you have to drive a little bit further if you want something, as I am in the Toledo district, which is more raw. We don't have as many stores, and we're not as built up as the more touristy parts of the country. All right, back to cars. Insurance. Insurance is laughable, pretty much, at the price. We have a 1995 Land Cruiser. You have to buy the insurance for the entire year. At least we did. And it cost me a whopping $600 for the entire year. Now, I just bought a motorcycle, and I have to insure it still, as my regular agent was not around, and I like to stick to the same girl. And I can imagine it's going to be fairly cheap. I can't see it being any more than $200. And those are also in Belize currency. So you'll have to convert it to find out how much it is Canadian. Okay, what do I have to do to be here? I have to pay $200 Belize per person every month to extend my passport stamp. This has been probably one of the more costly things we've had to do, and it is a bit of a pain in the ass. So when you are moving here, make sure you are picking an area that is close to a passport office, or you are going to have to travel quite a distance every month to get your passport stamped. We didn't quite think about that, but we lucked out. We are right by Punta Gorda. It's like 10-minute drive at the most, and we are a port for boats and things like that, so we have an office right there. So every month when our passport stamp expires, we have to go in and we have to fill out paperwork, then we have to walk across the road to the Treasury office, pay our $200 per person, so in total that's $600 because there's 3 of us, and then we're good for another month. Now, there are loopholes here. If you own a business and you have a work permit through your business, it is a different price, which we just found out and which we are working on with our work permits because we have a business here. Also, another interesting fact, if you buy a property here that you intend to turn into a farm, that means even if you're growing 20 plants of tomatoes, you can also turn it into a business and you benefit from owning a business here. Let's talk about gun laws. Oh, there's TJ. For some of you Americans, this might be really interesting. And for some of you Canadians who hated our gun laws in Canada, you'll really like this one. To be an immigrant here or an expat, it's not very hard to get your gun license. There's a couple ways you can do it. We are personally doing it through our farm. If you own a farm, you can get a rifle to protect your livestock. This is the way we are going to be doing it. And you can walk around with a gun on your back or in your pocket, whatever, as long as you have your license. Again, not hard to do. Is it easy to work in Belize? Not if you don't own a business. If you're lucky enough and you have worked in the hospitality industry, you could probably get a job with one of the local resorts, and they may be able to get you a visa. But my suggestion to you, which is what we are doing, is open your own business. If you can find the missing piece in an industry here, you will have no problem making money. We happen to open a fishing business and we buy and sell fish. We also have our eco community, which will be turned into an Airbnb once we have everything up and going on our property. And we are selling 1 acre lots to people who we are approving to live in our community. I have also started doing real estate here. So if you're hungry for work and you are smart at figuring out that missing piece, there's no issue. When you do start your business, you have to do it through a lawyer. And it can be a little bit costly. I mean, depends on what you're viewing as costly. We had to pay around $2,500 US to our lawyer. They did everything. We filled out the paperwork, and then you have to re-register every year, which isn't too bad at all. And then you have to give yourself a work visa. So you'll have to set up a portal with the government and go through that system. Not hard. We've done it. We've hired me. We've hired my husband. Easy peasy. Is it easy hiring? Yes and no. It is easy to find people who need jobs, but it is not so easy to find people who want to work or who want to adapt to the way that you want to do things. We have a friend who owns a restaurant here, and he seems to have a hell of a time with his staff. People tend to use people. Okay, and one of the last things that I absolutely hate, I call it the white lady price. Now, I know that may seem a little bit racist, because it kind of is, but I have experienced it, and a lot of my other white Canadian and American friends here also experience it. Prices change when you have skin color like this. It sucks, it's sad, but it is what it is, and we know it happens. And now I just have the people who know I'm a local, and I've called a few people out, and I don't really get that too much anymore. So just come knowing, if you have to pay $12 for 1 pound of tomatoes, that is the white lady price. Okay, so districts. Districts are like provinces or states. They're the different areas of the country, and they tend to have their own government systems or like departments in the government. Please do your research because they are so different from each other. We live in the Toledo district, which I consider very raw. It is very much jungle, but we also have the ocean, but we also have a lot less than the other districts. My second favorite choice would have been like the Spanish Lookout area and up that way in San Ignacio. They tend to have more stuff, and there's a whole Mennonite community up in Spanish Lookout that literally have everything you need. If you've driven through rural Ontario, that's what it looks like with random palm trees. All right, I'm gonna finish it there because I can't think of much else. If anyone has any questions, please leave them in the comments below and I will try and answer them. I hope you enjoy, and I hope to see you back here again to watch my other videos. And I hope I help someone make the move here because it's really a great place to be.